What's going on, guys? JFC here. Today I've got a full and complete dribbling guide for you guys. We're gonna go over the basics. We're gonna go over all the skill moves that you should learn. We're gonna go over everything in this video that you are gonna need to become a better dribbler in FIFA 23. We're gonna be talking about things for beginners and also talking about things for like the people who are already doing the reverse elasticos of the world, right? All that kind of stuff. I want to try and give tips to kind of help both of those kinds of players out. We've got all types of stuff on the channel, tutorials, market stuff. So click subscribe if you're new around here for daily uploads. Let's just get into it. Starting with the basics, of course. The number one thing you probably want to learn first, really, is just left stick dribbling, right? That's probably the most underrated part of dribbling. It's not as big of a deal in previous years. I mean, last year, left stick dribbling looked like this. And, you know, it's super fast, fluid, responsive. If you got good at it, you didn't even need to like learn any skill moves, basically. And this year, the biggest thing with left stick dribbling that you can really do is kind of like move in a direction that you're already kind of facing. It's not really that good anymore, but there are still times where you will want to do left stick dribbling where you don't want to press any buttons, no skill moves, no nothing like that. It's just not as important as it was last year. And left stick dribbling is just dribbling with just the left stick, not doing anything else. That's all it is. And the only way to really get better at this is just kind of by practice, really. That's kind of the only thing I can say, because it's just you turning the stick. It's not really much to it, but it's still very good to practice. And what goes hand in hand with that too is left stick dribbling, but also being light on sprint. You absolutely do not want to be sprinting all the time. That's one of the biggest things, honestly. It's so important. It's probably one of like the top 3 things in this video that I want to get across to you guys is just dribbling without using a lot of sprint. Because when you change direction and change speed at a very random time at rapid pace, you become so unpredictable that the person that is defending against you just has such a hard time predicting what you're going to do next. When you mix in a sprint boost at the right times rather than just dribbling straight into him constantly with the sprint button, you can get into a lot of funks that way if you're not playing very well, or if you're playing upset, you can just sprint all the time. That's the number one way for you to just all of a sudden stop scoring goals, because you become very easy to predict. And that's one of the most important things with dribbling is the least predictable you are, the easier dribbling is. So what kind of takes the place of left stick dribbling this year is the R1 and L1 dribbling. If you guys don't know what that is, it's just you pressing or holding R1 or L1 while dribbling the ball to be able to like kind of, it's like a quick change of direction almost, but it's super effective. You guys definitely need to be starting to do this. If you don't do it often enough, you need to be doing it almost all the time. Like literally, if you watch my gameplay, you'll be seeing me like almost every time I have the ball with somebody, I'm doing an R1 or L1 dribble, because it's really the only way this year to change directions at a super fast pace. And that's really important if you want to become good at dribbling. The difference between R1 and L1, they're not too different. I'd say the biggest difference is L1 in the box is very, very good. It's kind of a close control type dribble, but it's more agile than the left stick. So I think L1 is something you're going to want to use in the box more often, and R1 is something you're going to want to use more like across the rest of the pitch. R1 kind of keeps the ball a little further away from you, but also it goes backwards a lot quicker, and you can kind of quickly move in a different direction faster. But if you want to have that kind of close control, really intricate move, I think L1 is better for that, and that's why I think it's great in the box. Next is the fake shot and the fake shot stop. Very simple skill move, and in previous years, it hasn't really been as effective. This year, it is pretty effective. It's just obviously pressing the shoot button or the square button and pressing X immediately after. The animations this year are much better, so it's just a better skill move this year. Very easy, but also very effective. And the fake shot stop is just doing a fake shot and completely taking your hand off of the left stick and just kind of staying in one spot. Also very, very effective, because you can do a lot of skill move chains after that, like an elastico, which we'll talk about here in a sec. And then the last thing for a mechanic is the push dribble, and that's obviously just pressing R2 or your sprint button twice or 3 times, depending on how far you want to push that ball in front of you. With pacey players and a lot of open space, obviously this is very, very good. You're going to want to learn how to do this effectively. The ball just goes where you're aiming. I would press R2 twice, not 3 times. 3 times really sends it flying. Twice is just right about the perfect amount, really. I think it's very, very good, and you should definitely learn it. So now we're going into skill moves, and there's like 5 or 6 that I think are the most effective this year that you should definitely learn. We'll talk about like 6 or 7 more that I think are very good, but not necessarily like the absolute meta that you need to learn to be good at FIFA. But I think there are some that are like you almost have to apply these to your game if you want to be in that like 16, 17, 18 plus win range in FUT champs. Number 1, very simple incredible one also is the ball roll. The ball roll is just an insanely good skill move. It's a very easy skill move. Obviously, you just hold the right stick to whatever direction that you want to go, and it just creates so much space. It's such an incredible skill move to make passing lanes, make shooting lanes. It really is like the #1 skill move that I can say for you guys to learn. The pros are constantly doing it, and it's just the most basic skill move. That's one of the most important ones you gotta learn for sure. And now one that goes kind of right along with the ball roll is the ball roll scoop. Now the ball roll scoop can be a little bit tricky. I'd say it's not the easiest to perform. Once you get it down though, it becomes like really easy to do. It's just that initial first few times it might be a little bit tricky for you. So basically you just start with the ball roll and you do a fake shot immediately after, and you point your left stick into whatever direction that you want to go after. Basically, if you're confused by it, you can try and see my inputs in the top left corner, I believe, and you can try and see what I'm pressing to try and get them down. The ball roll scoop, if you're not doing it, you definitely need to be. It's only a 5-star skill move, by the way, but it just creates, it's such a misdirection, you know, especially when you ball roll during the course of an entire game and then you do a little ball roll and you scoop immediately the other way. It's like the quickest way to change direction fast in this game. Super overpowered. No, it's not realistic, I know that, but it's so insanely good. The pros do it as well. Next is step overs, and step overs are one that kind of came into light this year. You know, they're always decent in FIFA, but this year especially, they're like very fluid and more like real life, which is a nice added bonus as well. I think step overs should be very, very good in FIFA, considering they're just one of the best skill moves in real life as well. They actually can be a little bit tricky to like get down because it's very like intricate right stick movement. It's basically a half turn of the right stick to whatever direction you're going, and it makes you just incredibly unable to predict. Basically, that's the goal of almost every skill move, is just to make yourself difficult to predict. And step overs, when you're in the middle of a step over, he has no idea what you're gonna do. You could do a million different things, so that's one of the like absolute ones you should definitely learn. And then the last one that you definitely should be doing is the elastico or the reverse elastico. Both of them kind of go hand in hand. It's also a 5-star skill move. Step overs, by the way, I think are like a 2-star, or I think maybe a 3-star skill move. I don't know if Conte can do them. I think it is a 3-star skill move, but the elastico and reverse elastico are 5-star skill moves. There is a 4-star skill move version of them, which I'll actually talk about here in a little bit, but the best one, the most important one to try and learn is the 5-star skill version. Basically, it's just a half turn of your right stick. An easy way to learn it is if you're facing towards goal, go to the practice arena. Basically, start with your right stick pointed down, and then you'll end up with it pointing straight up. So it's an easy way to like learn the half turn that you'll do with the elastico. The reverse elastico is just the exact opposite. You'll say if you're facing towards goal, you'd start with your right stick pointing up, and then you'll end up with it pointing down. It's a pretty easy way to learn it. And the elastico, it can be a little bit tricky to learn as well, but it's just such an incredible skill move. Once again, creates space. It makes you very unpredictable. You can do it across any part of the field, and it's amazing. Definitely do it in the box. I do it after the fake shot stop as another great way to do it. I'd say that is probably the last of the ones that you definitely want to learn to get to those like top elos, elite division, that kind of thing. You want to learn the reverse elastico and the regular elastico. So now we're going to go over like 6 or 7 skill moves I think are very, very good. Not necessarily a must learn, but definitely you're going to want to learn. I'm in the practice arena right now because I didn't have footage for this first one. The first one is the R1 elastico. I never see anybody do this skill move, but it's just the elastico, and you also press R1 with it, and see how it's just like a little version of it, basically. Courtois, get your ass back there. All it is basically just a little mini version of the elastico. I don't ever see anybody doing it. You can do the reverse version as well if I could do it. There you go. Reverse version of the elastico as well. It's such a good skill move to learn. You can beat the keeper with it. Yeah, it's great. The next one are cancels. Now, cancels are just like you doing a skill move, basically, and you can stop it in the middle of it by pressing L2 and R2 at the same time. I think this works best with the like scoop turn. I'm not exactly sure what actually the skill move is called. It's this one right here. You guys can see it. If you cancel that one, also the 5-star skill version, it's a great way to like open space for you and change direction, also make you very unpredictable. Those are really the only 2 skill moves I'll cancel. You can't really croqueta cancel anymore. Speaking of that, La Croqueta as well. I don't do it too much. I didn't have any footage of it. It's just L1 and you hold your stick to the left or right. It's very easy to do. It's not great in terms of beating a man anymore, but getting space to pass, or you can actually shoot with it too. If I'm at this angle here and I kind of do like a croqueta shot, you can actually do that this year. So that's one way to do it. It's not really great to just beat somebody in front of you. Like if I just did this in the box here, it's not amazing. But if I was at this weird angle to try and get a shot off, I can do that almost every time. Courtois, of course, saved at that time because he's 6'9". But you can actually do it, and it is pretty easy. So next we have the L1 chop, which is not like the Ronaldo chop. It's just a little bit different. It's just basically you hold L1 on your stick, and if you're facing towards goal, you're going to basically just go down and up really fast. And if you want to do the reverse version, it's just up and down down really fast while holding L1. Create space very quickly. It's like a little, it's basically just a better Ronaldo shot, basically. You can do a shot after if you want to, not a croqueta shot, sorry, a Travella shot if you want to. Definitely pretty effective. You got the heel to heel as well, which is an easy way to do it actually, is if you hold L2 and then do a fake shot. It's a very easy way to learn it. It's a very good skill move. It's not the most amazing one, but it definitely will keep you unpredictable as well. We've got the roulette, which is just like, basically just a spin move. How to do it, you basically just do a 360 with your right stick, whichever way you're facing. Another decent skill move. I wouldn't say it's the most insane. I do it more in open space, and I would like trying to beat a defender. It doesn't really work too much for that. If you do it in open space, it makes you very unpredictable. A guy has no idea what you're gonna do next. And lastly, we have the dummy. And the dummy obviously is just if you're receiving a pass or receiving whatever, the ball's coming towards you, you just hold R1 and let it run right past you. I wouldn't do this all the time, but there's definitely moments in the game where if he's like high pressing or whatever, he's on constant pressure, and you can basically beat the entire backline with one dummy. So I'd make sure you know that it's like in your repertoire, right? Like you are capable of doing it, but do it sparingly, because there are times where you're gonna want to do it. So it's a lot of information for one video. How am I gonna learn how to do all of this stuff? Well, a very easy way to do it is just go to the practice arena. The beautiful part is you got skill moves help with one press of a button or two presses of a button in the practice arena. It really helps get your muscle memory down. We have the camera this year actually as the gameplay camera. It used to be just the third person, which is way harder. Now you can learn the skill moves actually how you're going to be looking in game, which is a huge benefit. Then you can start combining multiple of them, right? You can do multiple step overs, elasticos, the whole thing, right? You can combine all of them. One of my favorite combos all year: step over, fake shot, stop, elastico, ball roll, scoop, boom. Just once you can combine all that together, you become so hard to predict on offense that you're gonna find yourself winning a lot more games in FIFA. I'm sure I missed skill moves, by the way, so if there's any that you do repeatedly that I did not cover in this video, leave a comment down below. I'm always down to learn new things. I think that's it for the video. I love you all. See you next video very, very soon. Peace.